Welcome to The Hypnotist, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. Brought to you by the hypnotherapist demanded by celebrities, CEOs, and even royalty, Adam Cox. These recordings took place live from Adam's clinic in London's world-famous Harley Street. This podcast features powerful hypnosis, so do not listen while driving or operating machinery. This recording is not suitable for those with epilepsy or severe mental health issues. So, get yourself comfortable and enjoy today's episode of The Hypnotist.
Hi, it's Adam here, and I'm joined by Marina, Kostina, and we're going to have a chat about what we're going to be doing at HypnoThoughts Live for our post-conference workshops. Marina, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, thank you. How are you?
Great to speak to you, because I think the last time that we spoke was briefly at HypnoThoughts Live, I think last summer, and you were on my podcast, I think 4 years ago, something like that, because I was in Tenerife at the time.
Yes, it was right after you launched your podcast, like not too long after, and I was fascinated by your success, so I cannot wait to hear about what you have to offer today.
Yeah, amazing. And I know you've had a bit of a tough time over the last few years, to put it mildly, but sometimes I really do think that good things come from bad things. And, you know, I've seen a book that you've released, and obviously you're doing a post-conference workshop as well. Tell us a little bit about what's been happening in your world.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much. Yes, since we talked 3 years ago, I had a near-death skydiving accident that kind of broke me into 52 pieces. I lost completely my face and has been going through surgeries, still not done. But during this time, like you said, in order to not go crazy, I continued working and learning even more about therapy, especially for trauma. And I really dove into something that I worked on for a long time already, but somatic healing. And I decided to do a post-conference workshop on somatic healing. I call it Hips Don't Lie, because I combine a lot of things from my belly dance and dancer background, yoga background, and also somatic work of different gurus in this area. And I kind of created my own version of the somatic healing that I use on my own trauma and also use it for my clients. So that's going to be my workshop.
Absolutely. And I think somatic healing is such an important thing, because people will commonly mention things like, you know, where they feel pain in their body, and, you know, certain phrases I used to pick up on as a child, like some people would say, you know, like they're fed up to the back teeth, and, you know, it's a pain in their ass and things like that. And you would hear these kind of references to body sensations linked to emotions and things like that. Tell us about your journey into somatic healing.
Oh, wow. That's great that you actually mentioned it, because, you know, I always laugh like with things like pain in the butt, you know, and things like that. But it's not just by chance, right? These expressions always are based on something real. First of all, I'm very in touch with the body because, you know, like I told you, I was a yoga teacher, a dancer. So I feel the body, and I really am connected to the body. But unfortunately, many people are not, and we really don't listen to our body until our body starts screaming at us, and that scream, either disease or muscle tension, is often an indication of some traumatic event or some emotions that are not processed, that are stuck there, because we are like animals, you know, we're designed to have, we're in a constant motion. So it's not, we're always in a great state, right? In the expanded state. we shrink and we expand, we shrink and then expand, and we're in cycles, like, right? Our nervous system works this way. But when something traumatic happens, and it doesn't have to be like you fall from the sky, it can be something supposedly minimal, but it's just the way you reacted to it. You did not process the emotion well, and it gets literally stuck in your body. And then your body, gives you signs, but because we're so disconnected in our day and age from our body, that we don't listen until it creates a big problem. So we're going to study how, where emotions are stuck. I'm going to give body map of emotions. We're going to talk about how the nervous system and even biology of a human is different when you're healthy and when you're traumatized. Traumatic brain is a different brain than a usual, common brain. I notice it on myself. Uh, but the good thing is that, of course, we can reverse these things and we can work through the body. And if we combine it with hypnosis, then we become a powerhouse, really.
And tell us about your heal method. What's that all about?
Well, I combine a lot of different things that I learned from different disciplines. And so we're going to do some things from belly dancing, my signature move that everybody always laughs at, laughs at in a way that, oh, it's such a cool, fun activity. So, we do shimmy dancing, it's a shimmy therapy. But there is a deeper meaning behind that, right? I actually teach you how to move your attention from different to different points in your body, and how getting out of your mind is actually the best thing you can do for yourself. I also teach breath during that workshop, because I actually got trained a while ago, a long time ago, in breathing. And I believe that breath is pretty much everything, right? It's our most basic tool for living. And it would be silly not to include it into somatic work. So I teach different, biology of breathing. I teach different types of breathing for different types of problems. So you can give it, either use it for yourself or give it to your clients, and they can experience relief right away. And imagine you have a hypnotic session and you also teach them breathing and somatic work and how to navigate through their trauma through somatic healing. That becomes very powerful. Sometimes, Adam, I have clients who come to me and they have no idea what happens, right? Why they are anxious, why they have panic attacks. You probably had that too, right? And yes, we can access that through hypnosis, but I honestly think that the quicker way is to see through the body. So I actually have a diagnostic that I teach you how to diagnose through the body, understand what kind of problems you might have.
So it sounds amazing because
Yeah.
there's a fusion of different kind of modalities here all at once to kind of release, it seems like, whatever that locked emotion, pain, or kind of sensation is, which sounds. And when you were talking about breath, I was getting flashbacks of about 20 years ago. I found this kind of breathing ratios and then learned about pranayama kind of breathing, and it was just revolutionary for me. It really kind of taught me really to kind of breathe from my diaphragm rather than my chest, and that's been a complete game changer for me.
It is, I honestly, everybody always says that, my results are miraculous. But I mean, if you see my first picture and all of the prognoses that I was given by the doctors, that I wouldn't walk by myself and things like that. I mean, I really attribute it to all of these things that I teach, to energy work, to hypnosis, to somatic healing. And breath is a part of it. Like, breathing not only calms my nervous system when, like I have a surgery on Wednesday, right? 20th. You can imagine the amount of stress, right, and anxiety. But I can still navigate through life um, because I use these tools. So, in a way, this horrible situation gave me, uh, I'm a researcher. So now I don't just learn about it, I'm actually applying tools and I'm testing on myself. And then I include them in my frameworks to offer to clients and, for training. Mm, so that's a kind of valuable thing that I can say. I walk my talk, literally.
Amazing. That sounds wonderful. Give us a little bit of an elevator pitch. If people are going to be at HypnoThoughts anyway, why should they come to your workshop as a bit of an extra?
Well, I think that if you work on trauma, if you work with trauma, the fastest way to access trauma and to release trauma is through your body. Sorry to say, not even through the subconscious mind. And, of course, it's all connected, but through your body. And so if you get this tool, you're going to have a really fast way of detecting trauma in your clients and really in yourself and releasing the trauma. And like you said, that I combine so many different modalities. So you're going to get so many different modalities at once, in one workshop. Like breathing stands like a separate training, right? You're going to have breathing training. You're going to have, oh, I forgot to tell you that there's going to be also Adam, have you ever watched Lie to Me series?
You know what? It was one of my favorite things, and I kind of didn't know about Ekman until I saw that TV show. And then when I saw that TV show, I actually did his course about micro expressions and kind of reading very quickly the kind of the tells that come from. I love that TV show.
Right. So I'm trained by Dr. Ekman, okay, and I am going to include that into my workshop. I'm trained in that method, and we're going to include it in the workshop because our face, like you said, that we have micro expressions, and micro expressions, for those who don't know, those are very like they're split second, right? Expressions that the muscle tension, right? Whatever you say, movement that indicate different types of emotions. And even if we're live, we try to uh, keep our face straight and pretend like we always do, most of us in life, to be polite or not to hurt feelings of others. These expressions never lie. And there are universal expressions, right? Universal feelings that can be found across all different cultures. And they have unified way of being expressed. And when trauma happens, though the emotions are also kind of in a way stuck in our face. So sometimes when you can look at the older people or people with wrinkles and you can tell if they're like we're sad people, angry people, happy people, right? Can you Sometimes you can tell,
You can
right?
tell
So
it's the smile lines in the eyes, isn't it? You can see them.
right, exactly. So we go deeper than that, and that helps you understand your client. It also helps you, you know, people, when they come to us, they say the truth or they don't, either on purpose or they just don't know any better. So it's easier for you to kind of like detect, like be a truth detector. And again, understand your client much better, but also detect trauma that is stuck in the face. I actually do. I have a special session. Unfortunately, it's not a part of the workshop. It's too much. But I also use microcurrents to work with trauma on the face using micro expressions. So it is a powerful tool to have.
Well, I have to say, it sounds like an amazing workshop. And if I wasn't doing a workshop myself, I would definitely be there. So maybe if we switch roles now, and maybe
Yes.
you ask me about my workshop, and I'll see if I can be anywhere close to as informative as you've just been with me.
You're so wonderful. To be honest with you, I am very, very upset that we're at the same time because you are just this genius man that I watched. I literally watched. I think that we got to know each other. You were probably a year into your podcasting, and then you just like created this massive impact. I mean, first of all, the quality, the ideas behind your podcasts are just so unique and so incredible. And then you have like enormous number of downloads that just keep growing, and it's I can't fathom like how fast you develop that. So can you please tell us what what kind of secrets are you going to teach people in that workshop?
Yeah, and it was very strange because I kind of accidentally became a podcast because I accidentally got a radio show because I was looking for studio space. And then because of the radio show, I then had hundreds of previous episodes. So I launched my first podcast called Modern Mindset that you were on. And then lockdown came along, and I knew I couldn't see so many hypnosis clients. So I thought it would be great to have a hypnosis podcast so I can practice being experimental and innovative with hypnosis. So it was actually right at the beginning of lockdown when I created the Hypnotist podcast. You were on the Modern Mindset podcast, I think exactly a year after it launched, because I remember I was living in Tenerife at the time in the second lockdown, and we had that conversation then. And for me, I love I love nested loops. I love metaphors. I love getting inspiration from movies and books. But equally, I found that my best stuff comes from the client in front of me. So most of my hypnosis sessions are the result of the actual hypnosis I did with the client, and it's just my voice being recorded. So it keeps the confidentiality, very confidential, that you never know who I'm working with. But what it means is that people listening can hear real hypnosis based on real client sessions where the clients had real issues. And it gives almost like a sneaky look into the therapy room while maintaining all of that confidentiality. And that's really what I think made the podcast grow, because it was a bit different from other hypnosis podcasts.
It is incredibly different from other hypnosis podcasts, to be honest with you. You don't even know, I already like had a crush on you before we met, because I had a YouTube video with your I think it was an anxiety, something like that, dealing with anxiety. I was trying to find really good material, and I was fascinated with the way you are presenting the information. And as a hypnotist, I saw all of the different techniques you use, and you pack it all together, and also with the quality of your recordings. Are you going to be helping people like me who, always records just into my phone? Would you touch upon the technological aspect of podcasting and how to even run it?
Because I think the technology is the daunting bit for a lot of people. And the great thing about podcast is that the average smartphone has a pretty good microphone these days. So you don't need really expensive microphones. You can even just use, a smartphone to start with. I use my computer and a USB microphone. I still have it over there. It's a cheap bit of kit. You just plug it into a laptop, and that's good to put you in the top 5% of all podcasts. It was only after the podcast really kind of blew up for me that I started investing in what I call the Joe Rogan mic, which is you see this microphone, it's the Shure SM7B, and you see it on all the podcasts on YouTube because it's just such a good microphone. So microphone, the computer, you don't need fancy mixing desks, but we're going to talk through the technical bits. I think the key thing that makes a podcast successful, though, isn't so much the technology, and it is the concept. If you come up with a good concept, then you can find an audience. You can find an audience from anywhere, but it's the audience that kind of vibrates with your particular content. Some people like my voice, some people don't like my voice, but you're gonna find the audience that's right for you. And I think that's the great thing about technology, is that you put stuff out there in the world, and then people that resonate with that and like that kind of content, they listen again and again, and you build an audience of people that like what you do, need what you do. So we're also going to be talking about not just how to come up with a format and a concept and the recording and the technology bits, but also how you then grow the audience and turn that audience into clients. Because for me, my podcast is now my primary way of generating clients. And I used to spend thousands of pounds each month on Google AdWords, and I don't do that at all anymore. It all comes from YouTube and podcasts. So I think it's a very, very cost-effective way to generate new clients.
That's wonderful. And you already kind of touched upon my next question. But let's kind of unwrap that, because I think that many people would really want to know the concept. Of course, you came up with the most amazing concept based on books and movies. I was like fascinated by that. How did you even come up with that? Are you gonna, is there any way that you could guide people to find their own concept? Because, like somebody like me looking at you, honestly, I feel a little intimidated in the sense that, oh, I don't have a concept like you. I will never be good at podcasting. Like that is the probably common feeling for somebody who comes. You know what I mean? Like, how do I stand out?
So I think there's different things that make people stand out. I would love to say that, that concept was an original concept, but it wasn't. I just thought, what kind of stuff did I like when I first became a hypnotist? And it was reading the real transcripts of Milton Erickson working with clients. That was way more interesting for me as to how he interacted with clients than just written descriptions of theories and protocols and those things. And there was a great book that I read early on called Magic in Action by Richard Bandler. And that was real transcripts of Richard Bandler, early Richard Bandler, so 1970s, early 80s, interacting with clients using NLP techniques to create rapid change. And I found that the real stuff, the real interactions with clients was interesting for me. So when I came up with an idea for the podcast, I thought, well, that's the bit that's most interesting for me. So therefore I want to do something that I would be interested in. And that was the real hypnosis sessions with the real clients, with a bit of an explanation as to why I use certain techniques and metaphors and approaches. So it wasn't an original concept, but it was fairly original for a hypnosis podcast. I'd seen the same concept in written form, in transcripts, but never in audio form. Mm-hmm. Most hypnosis was recorded generic sessions, or I love the Mike Mandel and Chris Thompson podcast, the Brain Software podcast, but that's educational and that's training. And
right.
You can find some really good hypnosis recordings, but they seem like they're scripted and generic, not aimed at one particular person. So my concept wasn't original, it was just original for podcasting. And I would encourage people to, the clue of what will be a winning concept is the things that you already find fascinating, the things that already are interesting for you and that you like listening to, and it will be some variation of that. And even if it's a similar concept to someone else, what will make it different is you, the fact that you're hosting it. And if someone was to exactly copy my format, it would still be different because they're a different hypnotist to how I am. So there is lots of scope, I think, for originality. And I believe that there is no competition in hypnosis, because if you were to stop 100 people in the street and ask them, is there some kind of traumatic memory that still, kind of plays on their mind? Is there an addiction they want to change? Is there anxiety that comes up too often? Is there a habit they want to change? Of those 100 people, all 100 of them have something that they want to change. So there's too much work out there, too many clients out there. And I think we need more podcasters out there doing hypnosis stuff, because the more we can raise awareness of hypnotherapy and its the benefits of doing hypnotherapy, well, the better it is for everyone in the world of hypnotherapy.
I love it. I love the concept of, the approach is like feeling abundant about this as opposed to scarcity and competition. I'm the same way. Absolutely. Well, my last question then to you is when I think of podcasting, because, I always feel like, especially after this experience, I have a lot of things to offer to people trauma wise, but I always honestly get stopped myself because it seems that starting a podcast, it's like starting another business. And how am I going to find time? Or is it going to cost me a lot of money? Or, because I always think I will spend all of these hours creating this amazing content. And then if it's not marketed, if people don't hear it, then it's just pretty much, just sitting there, right? Are you going to be covering something about how to, uh, I don't know, maybe it's marketing or maybe it's a better word of how to spread this love and joy to other people and give them this access to you. And so your podcast does not also become another business that you need to carry on. You know what I mean? Because you
Yeah.
also want to do therapy. Hmm.
I think a podcast has to give more than it takes, and if it takes more than it gives, then it's probably not the right thing. So that's why in this 1-day workshop we cover all the things to increase the probability that it becomes this kind of infinite well of things that are beneficial. That might be awareness, that might be credibility, that might be opening doors of opportunity, it might be new clients, it might even be the monetization of the podcast. So we cover a lot in the day to mean that it isn't like a full-time job. It is just something you do as a hobby that is enjoyable and just gives you all these benefits forever. For everyone turning up at the workshop, I'm going to be giving free access to my online course, which is called the same thing. It's called Podcasting for Therapists, but it's an online course, so therefore they don't have to remember everything in the day. They've also got the online course. And in terms of growing your audience, there is a few strategies that work, utilizing social media, or, something that I've started doing more is introducing guests onto my podcast that I know that my audience would be interested in. And then you get that kind of cross-fertilization. So you get the benefits of other audiences and then they share your podcast for you. So there's all these different strategies that once you have it, it doesn't have to cost lots of money to promote your podcast. It's just a way of once you have it, you want it to grow, and ideally grow organically without paying to grow it, because it has to be something that gives you and contributes to your business, your reputation, your quality of life, not taking away from it.
This is wonderful. This is absolutely wonderful. I think that it's a very useful and very needed workshop for us. And, many hypnotists, they have so much, to share, but they just afraid, because they just don't know how to start. So thank you for offering this and sharing so generously all of your knowledge and all of your experience.
And it's been lovely to speak with you again, Marina. And I'm looking forward to seeing you in Vegas in, what would it be, about 3 months' time, 4 months?
Oh, yeah. Not too long.
That's it.
Thank you for listening to The Hypnotist with Adam Cox, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. To automatically receive the latest episodes, please subscribe. If you'd like to support the show, please share this episode with just one friend you think it could help. And if this episode helped you, please leave us a 5-star review.